Hello, everyone. Welcome to Voice of Liberta, where we liberate our true voice and listening our hearts, sharing true stories from around the world about how we open our hearts and start listen them better. And today I'm inviting you to fly with me to Greece, to sunny Rhode Island. And it's honor for me to represent you, my guest. The first man in my podcast is John, who really is an amazing person. That's why I was intrigued to talk about him, how he managed to join love to music, dogs, and probably sunshine. So, John, can you represent yourself? What a mysterious man you are.
Yeah, that's right. That's definitely my tag, international man of mystery. No, that's not true at all. It's all very simple and basic. I just happen to have many passions, and often in life I've had to put one thing back in order to put another thing forward, and I just managed to find a way to do as many of the things that I love as I can, and not compromise on any of the things that I like. And that just meant focusing on improvement in all of the areas and things I enjoy. Keep reading, keep learning, keep meeting people that are better than you in different areas or more advanced, more experienced, and learning from them. And put yourself in an environment where you have the time.
You have more time, sorry.
Yeah, time is a great commodity, and it's underappreciated. I think if you live in the West, I lived in London for many years, and you're often chasing your tail because you're trying to make money to pay the rent and the bills, and before you know, you click your fingers and 5 years is gone, and you haven't really moved anywhere. You just stayed in the same place, and even though I was doing really well with my business in London, I really felt like it was time to take some more time out for my other passions, to create some space to see where I wanted to go. Because I think without creating space, it's very difficult to look for new directions and new inspirations.
Sounds really amazing. So briefly, you told nearly all the twists in life. So may I ask you in details a little bit? As already you mentioned, you moved from one island to another island, so from UK to, of course, warm and sunny island as Rod. So, but was that point which helps you to decide that's it, I had enough, I'm moving?
Well, I think a lot of that again is about environment. I went to visit my cousin, he's a very free-spirited guy. He's 50 now. He's a windsurf instructor, a kite surf instructor, snowboarding instructor, and he spends his winters in Mexico, and then he spends his summers in Rhodes. And he's a very entrepreneurial guy. He's always looking for business opportunities, learning all the new things. It started off with windsurfing, then it went to kite surfing, and now it's wing foiling, which is the new thing. So he's always developing, and I think one of the things that I could see that helped him get to that stage is all that time on the water. When you're out doing anything like that on the water, everything disappears. There's nothing around you. There's no one around you to even reference. You're just there with your board or whatever, with the elements, and you're meditating in many ways. Your mind can wander a little bit, but your mind comes back to what you're actually doing, which is a very key point. And I felt that when I went to visit Patrick in Rhodes, I had the headspace. I was out of my normal environment, and it helped me to see things more clearly. And I realized that nothing was going to change in my life unless I changed my environment. And that's not always the answer, because there's the old saying that if you take yourself away somewhere, you're still taking yourself there. So moving away is not always the answer, of course. But at that particular point in my life, I think it was. And for all its difficulties, the good things have definitely outweighed the bad.
Okay, so sounds really nice. So if I understand correctly, so um, you wanted to give more space for yourself to grow and understand your heart better, because you said that in London you was just chasing your tail. Am I right?
Yeah, and that's very true. And it's a very different. It's a very, in many ways, much more superficial and shallow life living in London, just because you have all these wonderful opportunities of culture all around you. So when I visit England now, I'm all into the culture and doing stuff. But when you're living there, it's not the same. You don't see all these beautiful things around you all the time because you're just paying the bills and just getting through the week. And then you click your fingers, blink your eyes, and it's the week again, and you keep going round and round. So one of the things about living here is it's a much more simple life. It's much more outdoorsy for me. We need a lot less. We buy a lot less. We just appreciate each other's company more. And having that time, that luxury of time, gives you space to create more. Sometimes it's out of necessity because you're like, okay, you don't have the same salary coming in every week. You don't have that luxury. So you have to be creative. You have to think, what's the environment saying to me? What's the market at the moment? How are things being affected by various things? Are there any new trends on the island? When I first arrived, yoga was not really a thing here. It really wasn't. There were teachers and people did it, of course, as they always have done. But it was very, very, I'm not going to say underground, but it was very niche. And for a male yoga teacher at the time, it was I'm like a zoo animal or something over here. But I quite enjoyed that. And the first thing I did is I got a job working on for a stand-up paddleboard company. And stand-up paddleboarding is like the world's easiest thing to do. It's a lot of fun, but you're just standing on a board and it's very stable. It's easy. And I didn't know anything about the subculture of stand-up paddleboarding. And one of the first things I was asked was, can you give stand-up paddleboard yoga classes? And I was like, oh yeah. And I'd never heard of this. And that just sounded like insanity to me, because it just seemed like a bizarre thing to do. But yeah, within a couple of days, I was on a board and I was teaching people stand-up paddleboard yoga. So, I was in my mid-30s then, and doing new things every day in a new place, and that was exciting. I think it tickles and massages all these parts of your brain for development and growth, and just doing new things in a new environment really helped me to keep growing.
And as I mentioned, here you are. Another mystery about you, that you are a yoga teacher as well. So compound many different things. So, and I like, as you said, that you need to create that luxury of time. Living in the busy surrounding like London, we don't have that luxury of time. And I can confirm that honestly, because I used to live in London for 5 years, and myself was doing 2-3 jobs, running around because I needed to pay bills, as you mentioned as well. And from one job to another, just jumping to the train and going to another place to London. And so you feel happy to have in a few hours just to take rest with your family on Sunday. But working hours was crazy. If I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I finished probably at midnight next day. So, and constantly feeling like a squirrel in the circle, and and being single mom of 2 kids, it was not even easy. And I thought, oh my God, looking now how I survived there. But yeah.
That makes my journey look like looks like a piece of cake. I mean, what you went through and what you achieved, and now you have your 2 boys, your 2 kids have left home, and that you are very, very happy with the way that they're going. I mean, that's real achievement. That's real.
Thank you very much, John, because this is true. Was very challenging. London gives me best university for business, probably, like Life University. I needed to be very quick, very fast to learn law and how to do everything. So because my background as a teacher in my native country was working many years as a teacher. So that's what I calling, that London the best university for life, especially if you emigrate from your country and it's completely everything new. So, but yes, it was a battle, but I was lucky to uh, to live, survive, and take care about my children. Is for sure. I decided to move out of London because wanted to have my own property. Your another passion, which you didn't mention yet, but I know a little bit from your photos what I saw and you mentioned last time that you have another very big love, and it's your dogs. Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is probably the longest conversation I've ever had that's taken so long to get around to dogs. Because dogs are everywhere. They're everywhere in our lives. Actually, I woke up, one of the first things my fiance said to me today was, yeah, I dreamt about dogs last night, because she's actually heroically editing my my brand new instruction course for dogs, people that want to take dogs into their lives and develop a strong relationship with them. And we've been filming and developing these courses for about a year. And now it's in the final kind of editing, the fun part where all the stuff happens, and we're just trying to make sure that everything feels right. And so when people buy these courses, when people feel a little bit lost and they don't know where to turn, and maybe there's not a good dog trainer in their area, or there's too much information online and it's very confusing, we're creating some courses that we hope will just be very gentle and kind and teach people about connection and energy and symbiosis and planning and mindset and all of these things about having a dog which aren't always talked about. So we're translating all the information and lessons we've learned over the last. Well, I've been doing this since 2005. So next year it'll be 20 years I've been working with dogs, which is crazy. Yeah, exactly. A lot of the work I've done is with sheltered animals. I've worked in Zambia and Serbia and Greece now with animal shelters, helping to make dogs in shelters more relaxed, more calm, happier, easier to find homes for. Often taking dogs that people like, that they've seen online, and then bringing them into my home for maybe a few weeks or months to rehabilitate them and make sure that when they go into their new homes, they're feeling good and they're calm and they're used to children and dogs and everything. So, yeah, working with animals has been it's been a huge part of my life, in my adult life. It's I've met amazing people. I've seen the best and the worst of people. And it's also inspired me to write the book I wrote a few years ago, which is now being used in Greece in the school system to teach young children about the importance of how we care about our animals and the skills that we learn from our animals.
So amazing. It sounds, really. I don't know how much time you have in Rhode Island, maybe 28 hours or 30. How you doing everything there?
Well, do you know what? Like it's a weird kind of equation where if you make time for yourself, like a really good example is when they always say, I haven't got time to meditate in the morning for 10 minutes or whatever. But if you can make that time, and meditation might be practicing an instrument or walking on the beach with your dog or whatever. If you can make that time for yourself, then you find more time. You get more time from it. It doesn't take time away from you because you're less muddled in your thinking. You're less confused in your thinking. You have more clarity, and that means you're more efficient. So it's almost like a paradox. By doing something hippy dippy like getting up and swimming in the sea first thing, or meditating, or doing some yoga in the morning, that will buy you time. It won't cost you time. That's counterintuitive, but true.
It really sounds amazing, and I love your energy. And then you're talking, and you saying hippy dippy and so on. So it's so nice to listen you, and I hope that our listeners will enjoy as well about that. I would like to ask you. You're so creative person, and I even didn't mention that you are a musician, probably. But can you share with us? You mentioned that yoga helping, walking with the dog helping you to listen yourself better. What will be your best advice, or maybe a few piece of advice for people who struggling, or they are lost, or they're unhappy, how they should start to listen their heart better? What what do you think?
I think the best piece of advice that comes straight to mind is try and find some stillness, some peace somewhere. And I personally probably find peace when I'm either walking, because I love to walk, or when I'm with my animals, just me and them, and we're just together, and I'm watching them and observing them and seeing, because they live in a very free way. They're living moment to moment, and their interactions are very honest most of the time. And observing that, it's like watching children, spending time with your children. There's no agenda there. There's no plan. It's just being in the moment. And I think that we can learn a lot from that. I think I talk a lot about when we're first developing as humans. We're developing this skill that we want to get rid of, which is to live in our heads. Very, very young children are just working out how to start living in their heads and process all this information. And the older we get, there's more information. There's too much information. We're getting bombarded by everything. And then people in their 30s and 40s and 50s spend thousands of pounds to go on courses to learn how to turn all that stuff off and live in the present. So it's almost like we go in this arc, and then we end up wanting to go back to where we came from. So I think anything that is mindful for you, it could be lifting weights, it could be practicing the piano, anything like that, spending time with your loved ones, anything that gets you out of your head a little bit, and that'll plug you in. It'll give you the space that you need, and the more you do it, the more peace you'll find, and then that's where you can start. You don't have to go to into an environment with a specific idea about having thoughts or inspiration. That'll come if you just allow the space for it to happen. I think Kafka said that about writing. Franz Kafka, the writer, said something about that. If you wait for it, just wait, sit, and it'll come to you. Just sit in peace, and you just have to find out where your peace is.
It's wonderful, wonderful advice, and so nicely explained by you about that, finding the peace of yourself and just watching and observing. And it's nice, really. Never thought that, like, moment to moment, as you said about the dogs, just I can feel your love and passion about them. So I guess that you learn from them a lot, this peaceful and joyful way of life, just by watching them. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be even more peaceful and loving after I've had a coffee. This is a slightly understimulated piece of love, me. Yeah, no, of course, it's all about observing and being objective. That's what I teach in my course, and every day when I meet people with dogs. Sometimes they're so deeply involved in the relationship they can't see what's going on, and we can be the same thing with our children, with our partners. It's really important to be able to step back. It's a real skill, and be like, okay, what's going on here? Sure. And the Greeks are an emotional bunch, and sometimes they don't want to hear some foreign guy saying, look, take your emotions out of the equation for a second and look with dispassionate eyes at what's happening. And they're like, I can't do that. I'm Greek. And I'm like, well, that's going to help your dog, because you're going to be less reactive. You're going to be less tense. You're going to be, okay, what's going on here? It's not a big deal. Let's work together, and we can change things. And sometimes that's a nice skill to have. to live with that passion is not to live at all, I think, but you got to know when to turn it on and turn it off when you can, obviously.
Yeah, you're very right.
It serves a greater purpose sometimes.
Just to switch off, as you said, your mind, your head is very, very important. As myself, I went through that as well. That's working so much and running and moving from one place and being foreigner and so many other challenges. So I found out myself in the place that, oh my God, I can't control my head. It's not just constantly buzzing. And I thought, how I can, just switch off and find that peace. That's how I started as well, meditate and studied, flowers therapy and what I'm implementing in my work now. And just simple practice, what I'm telling other people how to stop. They said, "Oh, I'm working, I'm busy, every day, every minute." I said, just 2 minutes, at least 2 minutes, find in your day. And as I'm using flowers, let's say I said, I have flowers in front of me now. Just look at the flower, and clear your mind and just think about, every and each petal, or just, the stem, the color, and just don't think about anything else. Or if you don't have a flower, just put candle in front of you and just stare in that light, and at least for 2 minutes. It's just beginning how to calm down your minds. So yes, everyone, we just trying to find our own way probably, and it's
absolutely no
100%. Great what you're doing, and probably the best advice is never stop trying to look for the peace, and yes, you need to be aware what you're doing. Don't overburn and switch off your minds and take rest. Am I right? One time. Okay, and the final question probably for you, because as you compounding or connecting so many different things in your life, like music, dogs, teaching, I understand, and yoga teacher as well. So what is your favorite maybe, or your activity which helping you, or you don't love everything in life?
I quite like eating.
Okay.
Eating is very important to me. My fiance and I are big fans of food. We love experimenting with different flavors and tastes and textures, and we never get bored with just creating stuff together, trying things out, because it's one of those crazy things that we have to eat to survive. We have to drink water, eat to survive. And so if you can turn these little parts of necessity into passions, then I think that's like a little life hack there. You can enjoy enjoy making a fruit salad, but if you're in a place where the fruit is in season, like at the moment in Rhodes, all the citrus plants are out, there's orange blossom everywhere, different types of oranges and lemons and stuff, and just enjoying experimenting with things like that. But I think to ask me if there's one thing is to kind of miss the point. I think it's if you can find like real joy in everything that you do, or at least try to, I love taking my kid to school on the scooter. It's a little Greek village, and it's all like whitewashed, and that's a real privilege for me to do that. I love to do that. It never gets boring for me. And then to come back and discuss some ideas with Inma, and then maybe to have some nice food and go for a walk with the dogs. It's about enjoying these little things, because as I say to my son, life will get hard and people will get ill and you might lose people and all these kind of things. They're all going to happen. So when they're not happening and things are okay, then, really get stuck into enjoying the little moments when all is well.
It's so nicely said. So probably to summarizing all your speech and on lovely your twist of the lives and your experience, I think some of listeners will say, okay, it looks like amazing, like nearly dream life at the moment, but what you will say to the person who can't feel that joy in the small moments, how he or she need to start, where to find that source of the joy?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it might look like that, but the struggles that we have are real, and like everyone's. And it's not about the objective struggles; it's about the perception of it. You might have exactly the same life situation in 2 different days and feel completely different about them. So that doesn't change the objectivity, the facts of what's happening in your life. It's all about the way you see it, and for me to say to someone, oh, you should feel better about your life because of this, there's something called relativism. When you're young and your kids and your parents say, well, if you don't eat that, and then you're ungrateful because there's people in the world starving. And that's obviously true. But if you always talk about your experiences relative to someone else's, then you're taking away from the experience that you're having. And that's really important to understand, that that's a real experience. And once you've acknowledged what you're going through, then you can try and change it. So rather than thinking about, the situation that's in front of you, think about how can I see this with fresh eyes, and what would help me to do that? Do I need to maybe put myself in a better headspace? Does that mean getting into a better daily routine, getting more sleep? You've got to always go back to basics. Getting more sleep, drinking lots of water, getting fresh air. If you get the opportunity to have any sunlight, take some sunlight, take some exercise, spend time with people that give you energy rather than take energy away. All of these kind of almost like cliches, but when you have a struggle if you have a struggle in your music practice life or your diet or whatever, you go back to basics and you start again from the beginning and work back up again. And if you do that quite a lot, then you can get really good at going back to basics, and then you don't have to, it doesn't seem like such a big drop all the time. I've been ill I had a flu for a week, and I haven't been able to do any exercise except for walking. And today I feel a bit better, so I'm going to try and do some exercise, but I've got to start slow because my body's not ready for it. So I've got to acknowledge that and be aware of that. And I think that's like a metaphor. When people are feeling a bit rubbish, try and think, okay, maybe it's not the situation that's rubbish, it's the way that I'm seeing it, and how can I help myself see it better?
Yes, really appreciate your advice, and you're very right. Our mindset, our attitude, and awareness is very important. Thank you very much for sharing your insights and your wisdom, your experience with me and us. And I truly appreciate your time. And hopefully you can enjoy now your coffee because it's early morning.
Well, it's not really that early. I just my fiance has been amazingly kind and letting me rest because I'm performing tonight with a saxophonist, an amazing musician at an art gallery in the old town, which is a lovely thing to do. And then tomorrow I'm performing with my band, which is always good fun. So she's given me the opportunity to rest my voice and rest my body.
Such a lovely lady.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
Yes, nice. So I would like to wish everyone as well. So just implement all these small steps in daily life to try to be more in peace with yourself. Don't push too much, and just try to enjoy, as John said, small moments in life, which can grow every day. So thank you very much, John, for your time one more time. And I truly wish everyone just liberate your inner voice and find your true happiness, no matter where you are, no matter what battle you're going through. Just sit still for a moment with yourself and try to listen your heart, what she is telling to you. And sometimes what we need is only just a few minutes or maybe half a day, just being with yourself in sunshine or seaside. And as John said, maybe just watch dogs playing, and the moments, the inspiration will come. So I wish that sincerely from all my heart to everyone, and see you next episode. Thank you very much, John. So
Thank you so much.
wish
My
you a
pleasure.
very nice day, and hopefully we will see you on the road soon.
Absolutely. You're always welcome.
My map, this is my dream. So I just started now this my invisible journey about the world. So, and I putting, the ticks where which people I, interviewed, and I'm a dreamer, big dreamer. Just I really now in my age, I just wish to travel around the world and create.
Well, we're waiting for you here. Don't worry about that.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much. Okay, take care and best wishes for your wonderful lady.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.